Warning, the show contains adult language, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. Today's episode 252. I'm Adrian Babashoff, and welcome. I wanted to talk today about making sense in this insane world. And there's a lot of stuff going on that just seems like it jumbles everything all up. It complicates things. I have no idea sometimes what to do. I get lost, right? There's just a myriad of things, good things, bad things. And just when you think you got it nailed down, something else is going down. And I just try to sit and make sense of it all. And every once in a while, I let my mind and my thinking get lost in all of this to try to make sense of it. And I always seem to come back to the same thing, to the sensibility, to the common sense, to the simplicity of everything. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, maybe to help some people on my perspective of just what do we actually need? How do we make sense of this nonsensical circus? So one of the very, very first things I have down here is on my notes is nature is our business partner. And I think a lot of us forget about that. We think that everything's just manufactured. It just comes out of thin air. You know, you turn on the tap water and it comes from somewhere. Where does that come from? What are the energies? What are the things that need to happen in order to bring us that water? Where do we get all these goods? You know, where are all these plastics? I think a lot of people are not aware that plastic is made out of petroleum, right? That's where, and what do? We mine the earth for petroleum. So we can make many, many things. I think the petroleum is a crazy one because it's pretty much in everything. It's in paint and some food products, medications. It goes beyond just plastics. I didn't know about the medications. That one just really, I found out about that one about a year ago. But regardless of all of this, nature is our business partner. We need to treat the earth well. We need to understand where all of these things come from. You see, we're all consumers, not all of us, but the majority of us are consumers, and we don't really ever pay attention to things like that. But once we have an understanding of where things come from and how nature is actually our best business partner, then that changes everything, I think, prospectively inside of our minds, in our thoughts, our actions of life. It brings me to my next note, which is respect for all living things. And the earth itself, as some say with the science, is that the earth is a living organism in and of itself. There's many living things and organisms within it. It's a bubble within a bubble, if you will. One of the beautiful things that I notice is when we start to reconnect with respect for all living things. I just kind of want to share something that's happened to me a few times. About a week ago, there was a bee flying around my face, and I just stuck my hand out, and it landed on my finger and on my hand and started crawling around. Usually I sit inside my vehicle, for lunch breaks and things like that. This is what you guys are where this show is being recorded from, is inside my truck. And sometimes these bees get stuck in there, so I just kind of stuck my hand out and just gently vibrated on a different level with it, knowing that it's not going to bite me. Maybe not knowing 100%, but I think when you vibrate out a frequency and you understand the rules, the laws, and the nature of nature, that these things kind of dissipate away. Well, the bee landed on my hand. I let it crawl across my palm and on my fingers, and I was just examining it and looking at the beauty of such a creature, just all the little fuzzes and stuff inside of it, and just looking at one of my favorite things is honey. I love putting honey in teas and just straight up eating honey. I've loved it since I was a little kid, and just the fascination of how these things work, how the bees, the worker bees, and how their hives with the queen, and these smells, these scents that they get, and how they collect the nectar, and their importance of pollinating plants and things for living things all on earth, all on the tip of my finger. And then I just gave it a blow, just like that, and then the bee flew away. And it's just that it's dangerous. I watched its butt to see, was it angry? Was something going on? Did it want to bite me? But I slowly just started connecting with it and not thinking about those things. And I know it's something so relatively so simple, but that's the reconnection that we get back, I think, with nature and understanding when we get in with it, when we live, coexist with it. And I think when we get to experience it, when we get to go out in nature and sleep in it and look at the things down to the microscopic level, it's all just fascinating. And how does this improve our world? Let me think. Let me think. In this insane world, I think that these are the things that actually are strong. Bees will be pollinating plants. The microbiology, all these things are at work. And when we think here at the surface, the subsurface, of living in this insane world, we think that we're so intelligent, we think that we're so smart, and we think that we're so strong, whereas nature will probably be here long after we're all gone. And these are the things that kind of ties you into back into home, I would say. And my next note here is what we need versus what we think we need. And I think that life is very simple. Things get all complicated. Things get pretty crazy. And I think a lot of it happens inside of our own minds where we've been fashioned, I guess I could say. I think that it's time that we just come out and say it. The powers that be, through social media, through movies, through public education, we've slowly started losing our way of nature. And I think that there's a huge movement that's happening right now of back to the land, where people are wanting to get their hands in the soil and their feet on land that they own, their mouths around food that they grow, and to have this profound experience with nature, to not work against it, but work with it. And I think there's a deep craving, and I think that's a deep sensation inside that we've all lost, that we want back. And when we get a little taste of it, we start to go insane for it. That's a perfect way to put it. I think that a lot of people don't even know that it exists. I think that it's been bred, it's been painted out of our minds. A lot of people don't even know where, that a difference between a potato and a tomato, how they're grown. If you saw a plant, they'd be like, I don't know what that is. What we need versus what we think we need is very simple. I think a lot of us crave time off. I think a lot of us crave naps. We want connection with ourselves, with nature, with each other. And for those of you who just tuning in, I usually take off my summers, and I just started my summer vacation here. This is my mini retirement. I usually work 8 to 9 months out of the year, and we're about a week into it. And just the fact of not getting up and going to work. And yesterday, on 4th of July was my yesterday. This is July 5th today when I'm recording the show for myself. And I made myself a little area at my home outside with a couch, a little futon bed. And my youngest daughter, just wanted to snuggle with me most of the day. It was pretty warm here. We live in San Diego, North County of California. And we snuggled. She just wanted to put her head up against my body, like my shoulder, my chest. And we just sat there, both of us just kind of talking in and out, and then looking at stuff on our phones, and then just talking about what we want to do for Halloween and things like that. And it was just a connection. And I think that when we simplify things, when we get away from all the complications and just sit and be present with each other, being at my farm and seeing all the frogs living inside my plants, eating up all the aphids and all the bugs, their little faces. These are things that I look at, that the calling that calls you back. I think it's very, very simple. People just want to be with each other. People want to snuggle, basically. They want to feel things other than this electrical false light that we have, around us, this fog of fake, fantastic explosions and distractions of things. And I think we all know that when we go out to do things to have a good time and to release and relax, that we only get a portion of it. We only get a little bit of it. As when we simplify and we just snuggle for a few hours and take lots of naps and times off and observe the sounds of the trees, these thoughts start to roll over your mind. Mine was like the symphony of the sound of the leaves, like the lemongrass on my farm, when you could hear them hitting each other. I know exactly when the wind starts blowing which plant that is just by the sound of the leaves. And there's something so soothing, like gentle paper just rubbing against each other, like a lullaby. So what we need versus what we think we need is completely two different things. I think that we've been fooled. We've allowed ourselves to be fooled. I don't like to give myself and many other people, I don't like to give them any slack of, well, it was just done to me, but there's a certain portion that it was done, and it was done since birth. We've been distracted and confused, and we got to bring that back. So the complications of simplicity is that it seems like the one part that I see inside people's minds is that with science and mathematics and public education and just the word that has been passed down from generations to generations of things are not that easy, right? It's not that simple. There's lots of chemicals and mathematical equations and things that need to happen. So we've complicated simplicity when really all we need to do is be patient. We need to plant seeds in the ground. They're not just going to pop up. If you said that you wanted a papaya, or a plum, I couldn't just magically make it. We'd have to plant the seed. It would take a while. Things need to be nurtured, fertilized, and watered and cared for, guarded and protected, and given the space to do what they need to do, just as us as human beings, so that they can grow into fruition. They can bloom and create beautiful flowers and get pollinated by the bees and be a part of the whole entire ecosystem that's around us, where it's in the air, it's in the water, it is in the math and in the education and the soul and everything. It's all tied together. We've just complicated things so much that all we need to do is be patient and let everything take its course and understand all the things, as we said, that nature is our best business partner. We should respect all living things. Everything is alive. And my final word is the human up. Human up. Forget about cowboy up. I don't know if I've ever explained this before, where that saying came from. I hope that I've invented it. There's cowboy up, man up, all that kind of stuff that I say we need to human up. We need to be the humans that we have designed to be. I don't think that people are evil at all. I think that we've just been misled and we're confused and we don't know what to do. It's like we've lost our way from home, and we're trying to seek that, and we're very unhappy. We're very pissed off. I think a lot of us, we get very frustrated. Why do we have the frustrations of things going on around us in life? A lot, including myself. A lot of us we're doing things that we don't want to do. And maybe worse than that, we're doing things that we know is not the right thing to do. It doesn't respect all living things. Therefore, we are not being human. We're being cyborgs. And we need to get back to the land, back to ourselves, back with each other. And we need to start living life the way it was intended to be, to pollinate everybody's ideas for the goodness of the world, for the goodness of the people, and the goodness for all living things. Guys, that's the show. Excuse me, I have to wrap it up within 15 minutes, and I think we got interrupted a few times there, but I'm going to patch that all in. Please give my show a review, only if I brought you guys some value. So guys, as I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.